Hello friends. This is Fiction Quest. How are you all? So in this video, we will see, what if Naruto was a genius shinobi and got harem? Naruto x harems. But before we start, if you want more amazing stuff like this, then be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video. Also, if possible, share this video with your friends. Now without wasting any more time, let's begin the story. Naruto has always been the village pariah, the village's outcast, ever since a few minutes after his birth. Uzumaki Naruto was the young boy's name, although his real name was Kazama Naruto, and that was only known by a few people, the Sandaime Hokage and Jiraiya. His parents were Kazama Arashi, or more widely renowned as the Yondaime Hokage or the Yellow Flash by his enemies. His mother's name was Hitome Kagaya, heir of the Shikatsumiyaku, Dead Bone Pulse, Blood Limit. The story takes place in the village hidden in the leaves, Konohagakure no Sato, a powerful shinobi village in the Fire Country. You might be wondering what is so bad about the young boy that makes him the village pariah when heirs to blood limits are treated as genius shinobis, especially when you're the son of the Yondaime Hokage, the village leader and hero. It was October 10th, the day of Naruto's birth, where the worst day to befall Konoha started a chain of events that made Naruto the village pariah. On this very day, the demon lord Kyuubi no Kitsune attacked Konoha, destroying thousands of lives. The Kyuubi no Kitsune was a nine-tailed demon fox, and was by far the strongest demon ever to walk the earth. He was a being of omnipotent power that caused earthquakes and tsunamis with a wave of his tails. The demon was the nine-tailed Biju, the king of all yokai. Arashi, being the Yondaime, was the most powerful ninja in the hidden village, as well as the most loved person in Konoha. Arashi, being the Yondaime, and Naruto, being his newborn son, had to make the biggest sacrifices to defeat the Biju, but no matter what they could ever do, death for the demon lord was not going to happen. Arashi's very life and Naruto's very humanity were given in exchange for the survival of the village. Arashi summoned the Shinigami, the death god, to seal up Kyuubi inside his very own son Naruto, and choose his son's destiny as that to have a Jinchuriki, power of the human sacrifice. Naruto, who had been barely born, was the vessel for the beast that almost destroyed the village and the reason for the death of his father and the executioner of many families' fathers, mothers, sons or daughters, and for this very reason was the target of the village's hate. If fate wasn't bad enough for our young hero, he was also born as an orphan. His mother died giving birth to him, his father sealing the great beast and himself the minute he was made into a human sacrifice. Naruto had to learn early on, defend himself being the target of such hate. He was beaten mercilessly to an inch of his death, which wasn't on his list of doing any time soon. Naruto was cursed and blessed by his demon parasite. Being the vessel for the massive demon, he inherited a couple of traits: 3 thin whisker marks on each of his cheeks, superhuman healing, an abnormally high chakra reserve and stamina. He was born with the ultimate Kek Genkai, the Shikatsumiyaku, or otherwise known as the Dead Bone Pulse, which allowed him to manipulate his skeletal structure. He had free control over the cells responsible for bone growth and replacement, allowing him to manipulate his bones at will. He could protrude his bones out through his skin, had free control over bone density, and could even completely regenerate a lost bone. Making his body virtually indestructible, he could make any part of his body as sharp as any spear, making for an almost perfect defense, turning his own body to the ultimate weapon. Naruto had activated his Kek Genkai when he was 3 years old, when he was beaten to the point of death. If it wasn't for him unconsciously making his bones as hard as steel, he would have died. After witnessing his strange power, he went to train with it, making himself strong enough to fight back if need to be, and by age 7 he had mastered his Kek Genkai and a force to be reckoned with. He was a master of the taijutsu arts and kenjutsu arts, but when it came to everything else he wasn't any better than anyone his own age. The Sandaime Hokage watched through his Tomigane no Jutsu, telescope technique, as he trained in the use of his Kek Genkai, and watched in awe as he mastered the bloodline at such a young age. He watched as he saw Naruto train hard at taijutsu. His speed was way too fast for someone his age, as well as his strength, endurance and stamina, making him a tank in any battle. Yet he lacked in chakra control, and with that massive chakra reserves he needed it to be able to perform any single jutsu. So he decided to give Naruto a scroll of kenjutsus and chakra control exercises. He learned the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shuriken Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, and Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu all in the same day, to the surprise of Saratobi, who went to get ready a scroll for Kaden, Raiden, Suiden, Futon, and Doden jutsus. He gave them all to Naruto to master, who tried to master but found it much more difficult than the kinjutsus. So he decided for a year straight he practiced his daily taijutsu, kek-genkai and chakra control workouts. He worked on his chakra control by everyday running up and down on trees for hours on end. He worked on his taijutsu by performing stances with his kek-genkai, as well as the iron fist style. On his body he had chakra weights, that on the normal person would be too much. Thanks to his kek-genkai it was just right. For the next year he continued his work on his chakra control but in a new manner. Water walking, he continued his taijutsu, kenjutsu and blood limit training. At this time he learned a few jutsus of each elements. Futon, Daitopa, Mizu Bunshin no Jutsu, Henge no Jutsu, Kaden, Hosenka no Jutsu, Kaden, Gokakyu no Jutsu, Doden, Retsudansho, Doden, Doryuheki, Kawarimi no Jutsu, Suiro no Jutsu and Shunshin no Jutsu. His final year before his entrance to the academy, he trained his chakra control by wind walking, which was a using the tree walking exercise, but to the exact opposite. Instead of sticking to the tree he levitated off the ground, as well as water walking, so he constantly let go of a steady stream chakra allowing him to levitate off the ground. With this form of chakra control he perfected his enormous chakra reserve, and learned the some higher level jutsus. Futon, Renkuden, Suiden, Tepodama, Kamaitachi no Jutsu, Doden, Shinju Zanshu no Jutsu, Doden, Iwayado Kuzushi, Kaden, Ryuka no Jutsu, Kaden, Karyu Enden, Daikamaitachi no Jutsu, Suiden, Bakusu Shoha, Suiden, Daibakufu no Jutsu, Suiden, Suiryuden no Jutsu, Suiden, Suijinheki, Suiden, Suigaden, Futon, Daitopa, Suiden, Suikodan no Jutsu and Rasengan. By the time he finished his training he was already as strong as an elite Junin, without the aid of his kek-genkai, but with it he was another Sannin in strength, but he and the Sandaime Hokage kept that a secret. It was the time for his entrance into the academy, but he need to put up a henge in order to better fit into his class. Having been born with the kek-genkai he was much taller than his peers at 5 feet tall at age 10. His golden blonde hair would get him to much attention, his sapphire blue eyes as well, but most of all would be he was an exact replica of the Yandaime Hokage, only shorter and younger. He wore navy blue full-length pants, black shinobi sandals, black muscle shirt and navy blue trench coat, but with his henge he wore a god-forsaken orange jumpsuit. 2 years passes with him working only to maintain his current power level. He did raise up his normal power level to that of a Sannin and his kek-genkai influenced into the Kage level. He failed the academy exams twice but decided to pass the third one, which he promised the Sandaime. During his time at the academy, he met a few friends, Shikamaru, Choji, Kiba, Shino and Hinata. He was still oblivious to the fact that one of his friends has had a crush on him since the first day of the academy, but he moved ahead. To say the teachers were shocked to see Naruto pass would be an underestimation. Their jaws dropped and hit the ground when they say the room full of Narutos in a henge state got him the highest score ever in the ninjutsu department. He aced the written exam and got perfects on his shuriken and kunai throws. He graduated with the perfect score of 400. To say the class was surprised would be saying that Naruto was the son of the Yandaime. Ha, 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 ironic ha. He beat the Sasuke Uchiha by 21 points, and was named the Rookie of the Year. His overall score was still low, but no longer was he the dead last but somewhere in the lower region. They were given their Hisha Tae and were given a speech on what the life of a shinobi was and that their journey was just beginning, which got the words troublesome from a lazy genin to be. That night Mizuki stole the scroll of seals, but was beaten half to death by a mysterious ninja who wore a mixture of black and navy blue. Iruka was saved from fighting. Mizuki who would have the upper hand considering that Iruka hadn't fought in years. That night there went a strange rumor about a masked shinobi, who ran at speeds not seen since the Yellow Flash. It was the day that they received their Junin senseis. Naruto and every other student that had passed the exam waited to hear the names called out. The teams went as followed: Skip Teams 1 through 6, Team 7 Haruno Sakura, Uchiha Sasuke. A loud squeal was heard as the forehead menace shrieked at having her future husband to be on her team. A loud take that Ino Pig was heard throughout the classroom. Sasuke's sweat dropped and even put his head down in shame, the team's final member Akamichi Choji and Junin sensei Hitaki Kakashi. A groan was heard from a very sad Choji. Haruka continued Team 8 Nara Shikamaru, Yamanaka Ino. A loud groan was heard as Ino owed her head down, and Uzumaki Naruto. Junin sensei Saratubi Isuma. Hinata was sad she wasn't going to be with Naruto-kun. Team 10 Inazuka Kiba. Hyuga Hinata and Aburama Shino. Junin sensei Yuhi Kurenai. Team 8 and Team 10 left early with their sensei, while Team 7 waited for 3 hours before their sensei decided to show up. Sarutobi Isuma decided to get to know his genin team a bit better, so he said, "Why don't you present yourself? Tell us your name, your likes, your dislikes, your hobbies, your dreams and your abilities." Ino asked, "Can you go first so we can know how it goes?" Isuma just responded by nodding before he said, "My name is Sarutobi Isuma. My likes are my family, my dislikes anyone who hurts my family, my hobbies training, my dream to be happy, and my abilities are M.A. Junin. So I'm highly skilled. Now you go, Blondie." Ino smiles before saying, "My name is Yamanaka Ino. My likes are Sasuke-kun, flowers and helping my family. My dislikes is people who get in the way of me and Sasuke. My hobbies are helping my mother with the flower shop we own. My dream to be the best kunoichi I can be, and finally my abilities are the Yamanaka clan techniques, I guess." "Now you go, lazy," spoke the Junin. "My name is Nara Shikamaru. My likes, my friends, watching the cloud and playing shugi. My dislikes to troublesome. My hobbies watching the clouds. My dream to marry a good woman, have a child, be a competent ninja and let my sons take care of me. My abilities are my clan's techniques as well." "Okay, Blondie, it's your turn," spoke an irritated Junin. "My name is Uzumaki Naruto. My likes are my friends, training and pushing myself to my limits. My dislikes, anyone who is arrogant, ignorant and those who hate me. My hobbies are learning new jutsu, training and getting stronger. My dreams are to be the best Hokage ever, and getting acknowledged. My abilities, you're going to have to find those out, but trust me. You will be shocked, and I guess I can drop my henge." Isuma, Ino and Shikamaru are left with their eyes as big as saucers as they see. Ino gasped at Naruto. Why did she never realize before that he was always under a henge? How could he do a henge? He was never able to do one at the academy. What was he hiding? Naruto, from the short childlike idiot into a tall, mature-looking, sapphire-eyed, golden blonde-haired Adonis. Shikamaru was chalking on the air. Naruto looked a lot different than how he was in the academy. If it wasn't for those 3 whisker marks on each side of his cheeks, he wouldn't believe that was him. He looked a lot like the Yondaime. If it wasn't for those 3 marks on his cheeks, they would say that the Yondaime was back from the dead. Isuma was throwing a fit. That resemblance to the Yondaime couldn't be a mere coincidence. Why was he so stupid? Why would Arashi ever choose to destroy anyone else's child? He sacrificed his whole family for the village, and his son was in his team. Who was his mother? Why didn't anyone know that Arashi was the father of the child? He could have lived a better life. He could have been much more happy, and lacked that fake mask that he must obviously wear. I mean, who would be happy that they were the most hated thing in their home? Naruto just shrugged at his response, then laughed and shunshin no jutsu away from there and into a random training ground where he finished practicing his Chidori, Reikiri and Rasengan Nirantatsu. During this training session he had them mastered them down through the use of many kage bunshins. He was busily practicing the Ratsuga, one of his original moves, but wasn't quite getting close to mastering it down. His most ambitious technique was the Kachiyose no Jutsu, and Yokai Kachiyose no Jutsu. They took a lot of chakra to summon out their boss animal. For the Yokai Kachiyose no Jutsu, it summons Kyubi no Kitsune, the 9-tailed fox, but requires about 10 times the amount to summon the chief dragon from the Kachiyose no Jutsu, and that amount, he unfortunately didn't have enough. Just summoning the boss dragon would require a ghastly amount of chakra, about 40% of his total chakra. He had mastered down the Kachiyose no Jutsu, and could summon Behemoth the Dragon Chief, a dragon of golden yellow skin and half a size bigger than the toad boss, Gamabunta. He was practicing with his Kek Genkai as he made 2,000 shadow clones to fight with, which turned out to be a very hard fight. Although the clones did not possess the Kek Genkai, they did however used his speed, which without their weights to slowing down were really hard to evade or hit, so his Kek Genkai came to a great advantage as he took the hits, and started slashing his way through the army of shadow clones. As the shadow clones surrounded him in a circle, He removed his weights before smirking and moving at speeds equal to the shadow clones before adding chakra throughout his body to move faster and annihilating the shadow clones by using Tsubaki no Mai as he slashes away at his doppelgangers. After destroying only a couple of hundred or so clones, Naruto finds it harder and harder to keep up with the shadow clones, who move with amazing grace and speed. Getting tired of the battle, he does Suarabi no Mai as the training ground was engulfed by a forest of large bones that killed over 1,000 clones. He then fuses melts in with the bones as he goes from one spot to another, killing off the remaining shadow clones except for 5 who still jumped to avoid the hits. Sakura was walking through the training grounds after her meeting with the sensei when she noticed a tall kid around her age doing what looked like fighting an army of shadow clones. She stayed and watched as the army of shadow clones were destroyed as he slashed them apart with his weapons. The clones moved fast as they went for jabs, hooks, roundhouse kick which the original would duck, parry, roll or block. He would do this, but they were coming in bigger number with a speed she could not believe. They hit him hard across his chest as he took the punch straight on and destroyed the clone, and later performed a series of swings and kicks as he annihilated a large group of shadow clones. He then picked up his speed as he moved right in between a cluster of clones and kicked them in their face and lunged at the remaining one. There was still over 1,000 clones, as he performed what seemed a frightening jutsu as the ground ruptured with giant bones as they sliced apart more than 1,000 clones. The battle waged on as he took out mostly all the remaining clones by what looked like fusing with the bones and killing them by lunging with a large spear-type weapon as he impaled his large obscure weapon into the surprised clones. The battle was left with the original and 5 shadow clones. Ino was now at her house when her mom asked, "How was your day, dear? So do you like your teammates and your sensei? By the way, who are your teammates and sensei?" Ino just said, "My teammates are Nara Shikamaru and Uzumaki Naruto, while our team sensei is Saratobi Asuma." "Well, my team is interesting. At the very least, Shikamaru is a lazy teme. Naruto is a mystery. He has kept a henge his whole time as an academy student. He says he liked to train, but then he says his abilities are for us to find out. Asuma likes to smoke and he protects his family, and Naruto is super cute. For some odd reason her mother stays quiet, and Ino decides to leave to go tell Sakura about her team. With Shikamaru, he just went to his house, said troublesome, and went to sleep. Did you expect anything from him? I mean, he's Shikamaru. You know, the lazy no-good ninja who wants to live a boring life and not do anything. Troublesome. Sakura had just started to head home, thinking. That was a frightening finish. I wonder who he was. He was a blue-eyes blonde, but that's all I could see from him. He wore dark colors, and from the way he fought wasn't any pushover, but Sasuke-kun could probably beat him. Naruto was walking through the town where he received many new looks, some that he wasn't used to receiving this type of looks, but it was no doubt because of how eerily similar he looked to the late Yondaime. He walked as he got many reactions from the female population, some of the male population, while some of the men just looked with jealousy. He continued walking through the village until he reached his home, where he rested for the night and prepared for tomorrow's real genin exam. In the outside there was a rumor about a hot, young blonde, who looked a lot like the Yondaime Hokage. There was also a rumor about the phantom shinobi, who took out Mizuki. No one really knew who that person was. Time skip. Next day Naruto was walking to training ground 13 to meet his sensei for his genin exam. He arrived there at the exact time their sensei had asked, which was at 8 am. When he arrived there he found that Ino was already there, and so was Shikamaru, who was muttering, "Troublesome girls. Troublesome sensei. Troublesome test. God damn it, this life is too damn troublesome. I would kill myself if it wasn't so damn troublesome to do." Naruto just laughed, before waiting for his sensei to arrive, which wasn't long. When Asuma arrived he immediately told them of their genin test. It was for them to work as a team. He told them straight right there, either they worked as a team or go back to the academy. They accepted working as a team, but then Asuma decided to check their abilities and rate them on how strong they were individually. Asuma recorded this into the school's and the country's vaults. Name: Yamanaka Ino. Nara Shikamaru. Uzumaki Naruto. Age: 12. 12 Height: 4 feet 11. 4 feet 11. 5 feet 4 Weight: 84 pounds. 93 lbs. 103 pounds. Tai: Average. 2 troublesome. Great gen. Good. 2 troublesome. Good. Nin: Average. 2 troublesome. Great misc. Genin level, at least Chunin. Back with Asuma, he went and took his reports to the Sandaime Hokage, where he announced that his team passed. Kurenai also said her team passed, but what was surprising was that Kakashi's team also passed. Asuma looked like the apocalypse was happening. Kurenai looked confused. Why did Asuma look like that? She found out when she heard how many teams he has passed since he started performing the Genin exams. This was his very first time he passed a Genin team. Time skip. Ino was screaming at the Hokage to give them a better mission. She did not want to go chase that stupid cat again. After chasing that stupid cat 10 times in the last week, that thing seriously must hate his owner. They were not going to do any more D-rank missions. Iruka yelled at his former students, lecturing them, "You are barely rookie Genins and D-rank missions is all you do." "That's enough, Iruka. If you think they're ready, Saratobi-kun, I will give them a C-rank mission," said the Hokage. "Asuma just says I think they are ready, Hokage-sama, and if anything happens I will protect them with my life." "You may come in, Tazuna-san." After the Hokage greeted the bridge builder, a strange old man with silver hair made his way in a drunken stupor. "Are this twerp's going to help me? Look at the lazy-looking one that's falling asleep." The said Shinobi just muttered, "Troublesome clients, troublesome mission," before he went back to sleep as Naruto fell to the floor laughing while Ino was trying to hold her giggles. Their sensei just sighed before telling them to meet him at the gates at 3 p.m. Jutsu translations: the mission started out really slow as nothing happened the first day of their travel. Shikamaru was cursing troublesome clients, troublesome mission, troublesome Ino. Can't she ever be quiet, let anyone take a rest, or at least let them be happy? But no, she has to annoy people to death. Seriously, my goddamn life is troublesome and I would kill myself if it weren't such a troublesome task to do. Kami-sama, please kill me now. Naruto was laughing at Shikamaru's little statement. Tazuna just sighed while thinking, how the hell am I going to live through this mission, with an annoying girl, a lazy Teme, a smoking Junin, and last but not least Mr. Pretty Boy. Over there looking at a fucking puddle. I mean a goddamn puddle. Talk about being bored, and unprepared for a mission. I'm as good as dead. Naruto kept looking at the puddle, knowing full well that it was a genjutsu and an obvious one at that, but right when they were getting close to the puddle the genjutsu faded and 2 Chunin level missing nin attacked Asuma by wrapping him with a sharp chain that shredded him to pieces. Ino fainted after seeing her sensei die. Naruto quickly performed a Kage Bunshin no Jutsu and ran and embraced Ino as she fell onto his chest. The demon brothers had a new target, the blonde, who performed a Junin level techniques. They ran at full speed towards him, hoping to freeze him, but found out otherwise as he seemed to enjoy fighting, and the faster they went the bigger his grin got. They ran at Naruto with chakra-enhanced movements, and both delivered a punch to Naruto right in the jaw with their gauntlets, who took the hit without flinching or moving back. He continued to take the beating to the shock of Shikamaru, who looked scared. Naruto was being massacred. They both charged up their punches with chakra as the hit exploded on Naruto's arm, which took the hit. Both the demon brothers and Shikamaru looked with wide eyes. Naruto had just taken a beating, yet he had no bruises, cuts, not anything had happened. Then they saw him grin before he started to go on the offensive, one kick towards one of the nin's gut followed by an uppercut as he sent them in the air, then a high jump kick which sent him higher up in the air as did a drop kick right at one of the nin's head, as he plummeted to the ground hitting hard, which caused a crater and an aftershock after he hit the ground with that breakneck speed. Shikamaru just witnessed one of the Chunin fall before him, like it was the easiest thing in the world. Right after the crash Naruto had landed gracefully at the back of the stunned nin. He simply stood there before the missing nin decided to attack with the help of a dozen or so Mizu Bunshin no Jutsu. After he performed the water clones they all were sent to attack, but even before they actually touched them they had been reduced to water. The nin continued to attack relentlessly at Naruto, who no longer let the hits connect as he either blocked them, evade by moving to the side of the hit, or actually caught his hit, after which he followed by sending a punch of his own at the opposing nin, who was sent flying after the hit. Quickly getting back up he performed Suiryuden no Jutsu as he sent a large dragon of water at a great force at Naruto, as he just sidestepped right before the hit connected and moved at a breakneck speed as he connects with a forward lunge with his fist, which sent the last demon brother into a deep unconscious sleep as he was sent flying, hitting a tree as a loud crack was heard before the tree, ripped in half with the bloodied missing nin, stood there lifelessly. Ino had just woken up to find herself in the arms of Naruto, with her head deep in his chest. She blushed a lot of shades of red before she fell back unconscious. Shikamaru just stood there. Who really was Naruto? That's all he could ask himself. As he saw end results of the battle, he was surprised to find Asuma teleport himself here and tied up the missing nins to a tree and left them for the Anbu. Asuma said good work while laughing at Naruto's current predicament. Having to hold Ino in a bridal-style manner was a little humorous to say the least. Also Shikamaru was actually having a good time with this because Ino was quiet. Many praises to Kami-sama. Naruto felt a little awkward to say the least. He did not expect to be carrying her all the way to the wave country, but he continued carrying her in the awkward manner until he heard a shout from his sensei duck. As Shikamaru, Asuma, Tazuna and himself ducked, the massive Zanbatsu hit the tree and on top of it appeared the demon of the hidden mist Zabuza Momochi, with a demented smirk on his face. Zabuza pulls out his giant monstrosity of a sword as he sets himself into his silent killing technique stance and disappears as his voice is heard throughout the area. Shikamaru gets frightened. Never had to fight a person at Anbu captain level. The killing intent he let out shocked him to the core as stood there motionless. The sound of steel hitting steel was heard as Asuma and Zabuza both exchanged blow after blow. Having the Zanbatsu had its advantage, the main being range, and that was a big advantage when he did not need to get close to kill someone. They exchanged blows for what seemed like an eternity before Zabuza finally achieved the upper hand and traps Asuma in a Suiro no Jutsu. Asuma slowly was dying from lack of air as the water prison held him still without him being able to do a single thing. This time both Naruto and Shikamaru attacked the water clone that Zabuza had previously created. Naruto destroys the clone as easily as could be before Shikamaru's Kagemane no Jutsu connects as drops the water prison around Asuma as the set once again fighting with Asuma winning this time, but right before the final hit connected Senbon needles hit Zabuza in the neck, putting him in a death-like state, which was enough for him to run away with Zabuza. Asuma was tired and fell from chakra exhaustion. With the aid of another Kage Bunshin, Naruto picked up the fallen Junin and continued on their way towards the clearing where they met Tazuna's daughter Tsunami. They took an instant liking toward her. She was kind-hearted, beautiful and most importantly heavily spirited even after the events that have taken place here. Ino, after finally waking up at a bed, wondered what had happened, and decided to ask her sensei, but when she found him sleeping on the bed decided maybe one of her teammates would be better informants. She went on her way asking around where she met a young mom named Tsunami who was Tazuna's daughter. For some odd reason the older woman kept on teasing her about her and her blonde-haired teammate. It wasn't till she asked why she thought anything was up between them that she heard how she arrived here. You were on Naruto-kun's arm in the way that a groom picks up his bride after they get married, and from what I heard he carried you like that for a long time. After hearing that from the client's daughter, all she could do was blush as she denied anything that could be between them, to which she sighed saying, if he's single, he won't be single for long here. Girls here will be trying to seduce him, and make them theirs, especially since he is a hot shinobi. She continued to search for her teammates throughout the town where she spotted Shikamaru, in the clearing muttering what she thought was troublesome blonde playboy. Ino watched as Naruto was being flirted by every attractive girl in the town, all of them trying to conquer the blonde shinobi. For some reason her face turned to an angry scowl as she watched her teammate flirting unknowingly to the female population of the village hidden in the waves. Shikamaru just looked entertained at Ino's reaction. It seems someone has a crush on Naruto. He was thinking of getting them together but decided against it because first of all it would be troublesome and the end result would be troublesome. If he couldn't get any sleep or relaxation before Imagine had, it would be like when his teammates were together. Naruto just answered the questions he got from the attractive girls. He couldn't really explain in it. Why was he being asked this many questions about himself and why were all these girls talking to him? So he just continued answering his questions to the best of his knowledge. Also, why was he being referred as cutie, sexy or the best one blondie-kun? Naruto just stood there getting too much attention, that he couldn't seem to understand. Why were they paying this much attention to me? And for goodness sake, why is Ino overblowing a fuse? When is this going to end? But hey, some of these girls are drop dead beautiful. Maybe I can finally get a girlfriend, but was interrupted as Asuma came and told him, okay blondie, what the fuck do you think you're doing? Stop flirting with the girls and get to training, you lazy ass, while thinking. I'm such a genius. Come on, how he's going to work hard and work himself to hard, he's going to catch up to my strength in a few years. Lol, he's already stronger than Asuma, but he doesn't know that, so yeah, I'll continue with my story. Naruto used this opportunity to get out of the circle of girls and went to train with the girls, chasing an already injured Asuma all the way to Tezuna's house. The days passed with Ino practicing tree climbing and raising her chakra reserves. At this point Asuma found it easier to make Shikamaru balance himself in a knife for him to actually try something, which made Shikamaru say, "Troublesome sensei. Damn that troublesome knife. Should I just let go and die? Nah, that would be too troublesome." Naruto was nowhere to be seen as he trained wind walking, but instead of a centimeter he was over a meter in the air, running at an incredible pace, losing so much chakra it was crazy. But that really helped him off since his control was getting gradually better and his chakra reserve growing at a rapid pace. If he kept this up he might be able to summon Kyuubi in a month or so. Everyone came back that night tired, traumatized. Naruto was tired as he could be. Ino was long done in a deep slumber while Shikamaru was having nightmares about knives while being awake. Yes, he was that paranoid. After 12 hours of trying to keep yourself above the knife you would be too. Yes, a little humor for you guys. It was this night that Inari got in a fight with Naruto, who ended running to his room crying from what Naruto told him. Inari was crying while thinking about what the blonde genin had said. Was I really just being a crybaby? I mean, how could he call me that? What does he know? I saw my father be killed right before my very eyes, but he never had any family, he was never loved, he was never even acknowledged through his life, he was led to die when he was 3 years old as an orphan with no home. The constant beatings and life and death situations he passed through his life. The week passed in the same manner. Ino, Shikamaru and Asuma left for the bridge 1 week later when they found a lot of the bridge building crew already dead, and Zabuza with the masked man standing right next to him. Naruto awoke a few minutes later where he found a crying Inari mumbling stuff about his mom being taken away. Inari ran to save his mom and took a hit from the 2 samurais, but right before the fatal attack connected, both their swords broke when they hit the bone-like weapon on Naruto's hands. Inari stared wide-eyed at Naruto, who broke their swords before he kicked one of the swordsmen, then disappeared and reappeared kicking that man once again, before he karate chopped the loser in the neck and fell to the ground unconscious. The other swordsman looked at his partner, then at the person who beat him before shivering and started running for his life, but found it useless as he was pierced by bone-like items to a tree. Inari looked at Naruto before he broke down crying. Naruto comforts the boy, telling him he was very brave, and comforting words before making his way towards the bridge where the real battle would take place. Ino was currently watching her sensei fighting Zabuza and the masked nin, and holding out, but she could tell he was already getting tired and to the end of his rope. Right when he seemed to have the edge, he was quickly sent back to the defensive as the masked ninja started releasing here Kek Genkai Hyoden. The match started as Zabuza moved out of the way and rested while Haku took out Asuma. The fight started as the clash of steel was met and Haku performed Sensatsu Suisho, and 1,000 ice needles tried to take out Asuma but jumped in the neck of time and bashed Haku across the face and flew but caught herself in time to perform an aerial flip and land gracefully on his feet before pushing his legs to his top speed as the battle raged on. Asuma, finding an opening for an attack, rushed in and did a powerful kick to Haku's gut, which made Haku fall to one knee as the hit had hurt a lot. Haku, deciding that it was enough time foolishly fight, decided to use her Kek Genkai, started performing 2 Sensatsu Suisho, followed by throwing a few Senbon needles which hit Asuma as he jumped into the air to avoid the 2,000 ice needles that were raining down to the ground. Quickly pushing chakra to his feet, he ran towards Asuma and gave him a powerful kick to his face, followed by a roundhouse kick smashing him towards the ground. After hitting the ground, Asuma slowly stood back up coughing blood, while charging his chakra cuffs with a lot of chakra as the blades extended a foot longer made of pure chakra, and started his rampage attacking, but found himself stuck in a house of mirrors before he heard Makio Hyo show, and Haku slowly merged with the mirrors and started moving at a speed he could not see. Unfortunately, he was already hit by a few dozen Senbon needles. At the moment of his demise, he sent a chakra pulse to try and stun Haku. Naruto was slowly making his way towards the fight where he felt a chakra pulse that belonged to his sensei, making his at new speeds, and arrived a few minutes later, finding Ino scared, Shikamaru trying to protect Asuma inside the house of mirror being hit by a barrage of needles. Shikamaru with the last of his strength gets Asuma and runs out of the chaotic house of mirrors, performing chakra pulses every time needles were launched at him. Once he was out of the demonic ice mirrors, Zabuza, not intending to let his Asuma go that easily, ran to finish off the job, but before his sword met the flesh of an unconscious Junin, was stopped by a bone. This got Zabuza's attention as he was stopped by a bone, but no bone should be strong enough to stop his Zanbatsu. Haku dropped his jutsu and took a soldier pill before attempting to go and help Zabuza deal with the other genin. The final match had started. It was Zabuza and Haku versus Naruto. Both Zabuza and Haku took another soldier pill, getting prepared for the fight. Naruto stood there facing his new opponent, and by far his greatest challenge to this day. Haku, from the amount of chakra he showed in her Kek Genkai, would be a tough opponent, and with Zabuza helping him it would be the battle of a lifetime. It was time to prove which of the Hidden Mist Village was supreme. Hayaten versus Shikatsumiku. The battle between the Ice Specialist clan of the Hidden Mist Village against the Warbringer clan of the village hidden in the mist was finally going to commence. This was the fight that would make the Shinobi Wars what they were, the bloodline war for dominance. The Hayaten Kek Genkai was that of mastery over the water and wind elemental and combining them together to perform the deadliest of attacks. Controlling and fusing with their ice made them a threat to be feared, as they could come from nowhere and leave before anything could be done to stop them, earning them the reputation of the ice demons during the Great Shinobi Wars. Moving in between mirrors at the speed of light could make short work of their enemies. The Shikatsumiku Kek Genkai was that of total control over your bones, making your body into the ultimate weapon. Controlling and fusing with our very own bones was our specialty, and because of that we were a war-hungry clan. Although the Kek Genkai itself was very rare, we were the cause of most of the fears in the water country. A fight between these two clans would finally prove which Kek Genkai was stronger. The match started as both shinobis met with a blast as the two powerful shinobis tried to gain dominance over each other. Zabuza stood there seeing how the battle would turn out. With Haku having over twice the amount of her usual chakra reserve, he would be even more dangerous. Haku was starting to leak out chakra as she was enveloped in a wave of blue, giving her the advantage. The real power behind the Hayaten would soon be revealed. He started moving faster and faster as his true power was shown, as a huge current of chakra was spiked, showing Haku's true power was revealed. A spike in his chakra was easily sensed as the power released was colossal at any means. Starting to control all the water in the air, she made out weapons and demonic ice mirrors all around the bridge. The temperature dropped dramatically as a blue hue was seen all around the bridge, with the sparkle of the ice mirrors all over the field. Taking another soldier pill, Haku released more and more chakra as Ino stood there completely stunned at the show of power. After making 50 water clones and all of them entering the demonic ice mirrors, the really battle started. Haku rushed forward for a frontal attack but stopped midway there as she felt the air thicken as an explosion of chakra was released by his challenger. Large amounts of chakra started to be released out from Naruto's body. The aura around him thickened as the chakra took the form of Naruto's body, before the air around him starting cracking with electrical energy. A gust of wind was let go from the power which just had been released, and the mirrors themselves were being pushed back as the air shockwave subsided. More and more chakra was released until it reached its final spike, as everyone in a 100-kilometer radius felt an inhuman power level. Spikes started erupting from Naruto's back, as well as his forearm was now covered with 3 spikes. His shoulder now had 2 large spikes, while on his back 2 wing-like objects protruded until it made demonic wings. Zabuza stood there watching the transformation and power skyrocketing to a huge monstrous level. Naruto pulled out his spine and made it into a sharp, long and durable whip that extended past the 2-meter mark. Anime Insaniac, and rolled it into a small circle, and prepared for a long and difficult battle. Haku, realizing the opponent was much stronger, encased himself in an armor of ice, and his weapon into a 50-inch spiked scimitar. Finally realizing his fighting someone from the Kagaya clan, he put out his full power, and dashed at Naruto, with making a blue streak be seen as the water clones in the mirrors launched Senbon needles, all with Naruto as their respective target. Naruto sidestepped the barrage of needles to be hit powerful kick by Haku. After flying a bit, he performed an aerial recovery as he landed carefully in the ground and punched Haku when he came for a quick vertical slash, but met head first with a fist before he was going to be hit by the powerful whip. He Shunshin no Jutsu out of there and continued with the fight more meticulously. Naruto ran at full speed and was invisible to the eye, but Haku felt his blows all around him. He took many physical punches that hurt him even with his ice armor, softening his punches dramatically, and ran with a fierce speed where they met with a bang as the opposing forces forced a shockwave to erupt between the 2 shinobis. After the clash was heard, Zabuza decided to join the fray but was shocked to see that a blur was seen as all the mirrors surrounding the bridge were destroyed. The fight continued with new vigor as Zabuza and Haku now teamed up to take out Naruto. While Haku would put up a taijutsu assault on Naruto, Zabuza would quickly perform a Suiryuden no Jutsu at Naruto, who would use a shield of chakra to protect him. Naruto sidestepped the incoming water dragon blasts and continued moving at unrealistic speeds his way towards Haku. This was a match for supremacy and he was going to come out on top. Fist met fist as a large explosion was heard as the chakra itself battle each other, while Zabuza was performing a large set of seals and performed Suiden Koka Sujin, followed by his most dangerous technique Hyuden Kokuryubo Fusetsu. The water spikes served as a distraction as the two ice dragon are sent against Naruto as they start rotating around into a black snowstorm tornado as it's sent towards Naruto at a blinding speed and hit Naruto fiercely, sending him crashing towards the surrounding ocean with a bang. Only one thing was going through their mind: there is no way he survived that. A few minutes passed with nothing breaking the silence after the two dragon tornado hit Naruto right in the abdomen. It was a few minutes later that they started seeing the water started bubbling and moving wildly. The waves got rougher and rougher as the seconds passed. They got taller and more powerful until they were starting to dissipate slowly, after which it seemed as the hurricane of water was released and on top was a man. The hurricane itself subsided as the figure was getting closer and closer while saying some things. "I will not die, I will not be beaten, the Shikatsumiku will prevail. My dream will not be stopped, I will win." As the final words were said, the ground shook. The water once again turned violent and a new power level was reached. It was a frightening sight. Naruto was now covered in a suit of armor made entirely of bones. A small blue aura surrounded Naruto, making an outline of Naruto's body, but this one was more powerful than the last one, which was just being leaked out. This one was controlled. A few moments passed as he released a malevolent red chakra which was fusing with his highly concentrated blue into an all-new purple hybrid that was before it started spiraling all around Naruto. The armor of bones grew more feral by changing to a blood-red color and spikes all over the suit. The purple aura subsided and the blue outline on Naruto returned with the occasional purple streaks crackling with power. Slowly Naruto pulled out a bone and turned it onto a sharp, large broadsword which let out a menacing red aura. With each step Naruto took out, the ground shook and winds were released into a violent frenzy. Haku and Zabuza looked with astonishment in their eyes. The kid had just took an S-rank jutsu straight on and came back stronger. The sword of his was screeched with untold hatred and bloodlust. His armor of bones was complete and the spikes were sharp, and his boots of bones were menacing and strong. Haku and Zabuza got into a defensive position. Haku reinforced her armor of ice and put on Zabuza. Haku left with the aid of his demonic ice mirrors, was teleporting his way towards the opposing ninja through multiple mirrors. Zabuza was running without his weights that were holding him back. He had made a promise long ago: he would not drop his weights unless he fought a real demon. Using his own jutsu that reinforced his alias as the Demon of the Hidden Mist, Human Release. Demon Empowerment. When the jutsu finished, his muscles got larger and more defined. His aura changed dramatically from the usual psychotic human to that of a bloodthirsty demon as he was surrounded by a dark blue aura, moving at way faster speeds than ever before. He had used this technique once before, the Genin exams, and earned him the name of Demon of the Hidden Mist, changing high usual persona into that of demon. With renewed vigor and power, Haku and Zabuza moved towards Naruto at speeds that would put Guy to shame. Zabuza raised his large broadsword to perform a powerful downward cut. Haku also enhanced her strike with chakra as she came for a powerful lunge with that scimitar of hers. Both the attacks hit their mark, but were surprised to see that they hit a chakra double, a clone made of pure chakra, as it exploded, sending both Haku and Zabuza flying 10 meters away with minor damages thanks to the protected suit of demonic ice. The slowly stood back up but were sent flying back as Naruto had charged and kneed Haku in his gut, launching him flying through the air in a collision course to the cranes, but did not hit as he was hit hard by the blunt side of his blade. Haku, moving at a horrifying speed straight down, made an ice mirror below him and cushioned the fall with the large sheets of snow. Hitting the mirror hard, he stood back up before coughing up blood and dropping to one knee. Haku decided to rest for a while. Zabuza noticed that Haku was out of commission for a while and decided to put the true power of the form to the test. Releasing more and more chakra, he moved and started attacking with his broadsword, but each time he attacked, Naruto would sidestep to dodge and attack with his own blade. Zabuza would block by turning his blade upwards. Following the attack, both ninjas would move back. Haku was ready for business, and charged at Naruto, slamming his blade into Naruto's guard. But that was the problem, the scimitar did no damage. The armor was too strong to be affected by the attack. They would need to beat him with ninjutsu to affect the armor, and senbon needles to get inside the small cracks of the impenetrable suit of armor. Zabuza performed Suikoden no Jutsu, followed by Haku's Hyoden. Haryu Moko. The piercing tiger moved faster than the water shark missile and took out a fraction of his armor, with the water shark missile hitting him directly. Both sides were heavily panting now that they had used massive amounts of chakra. It was time to finish the fight. Haku changed her scimitar into a 2 lances and passed one to Zabuza, who took it. Naruto performed Rasengan Nirantatsu, as he held a Rasengan on each of his hands, and all 3 warriors started running towards each other to find out who would end up the victor. With great speeds, each of them arrived at the point of intersection in a matter of seconds. Haku and Zabuza both tried to take out Naruto by impaling him where his armor was previously destroyed, but went below their attacks and slammed both Rasengan into Haku's and Zabuza's stomachs as they took the impact before they were sent flying with a wave of pure energy, destroying their armor. Ino had barely woke up to see both Zabuza and Haku flying in what looked like a bubble of chakra straight above waters. The water rippled violently towards the powerful winds that made the attack super powerful. The armor slowly deteriorated as the attack took its toll on the 2 mist nins. The attack had weakened down significantly enough to just take out the nin's into an unconscious state rather than death. The fight was over and the Shikatsumiku had come out on top, but just when Naruto took down his armor of bones, which took a monstrous amount of chakra to keep in place, Gato and his men came with an army behind him. Gato's thugs were looking at the shinobis with hatred and disgust. There were 2 shinobis floating on the water. 2 others were unconscious on the bridge. There was a girl who was on the ground looking at them with fear, and one standing up all bloodied with almost no chakra left. Naruto's paw. Naruto looked at army of Samura's missing nins, and warriors here to take out the bridge builder and everyone else at this location. I felt fear for the first time, but not for me but for my team. They still had a long life ahead of them and I would protect them with my life. I still had about 17% of my overall chakra, which was about 7% more than I need to perform Suwarabi no Mai as the bones impale all of Gato's goon, killing them all with massive blood viewable all over the place. I created the strongest spear I could muster before I fused with my bones and told Gato, "Your future is death. You signed your death warrant the minute you took control of this village. You heartless fiend, it's people like you that give demons the bad name, killing Kaiser because he stood up to you, making small children cry. Loneliness is the worst thing a person could feel, and you caused that to many people. For this I will kill you." General Pav. The villagers came right in time to see the gruesome death of Gato. He was completely shredded by the spear that impaled him through his heart, and by forcing chakra through the spear, Gato's short body became nothing more than a heap of meat. Naruto released the bones as he dropped to one knee after using too much chakra during this battle. The crowd cheered, having been finally free of Gato's control. Being happier than they ever were, finished the bridge with renewed hope. Inari had a new hero, and to thank this hero the bridge was named after him, the Great Naruto Bridge. Making a promise to visit them soon, Naruto and the team headed back to Konoha. Haku and Zabuza looked at the shinobis. Instead of hatred, they looked at them with admiration. They had been beaten by one person, and that person didn't kill them, instead offered them a new chance. A chance of starting over in Konoha. They took the offer without second thoughts. It could be a way to atone for all their crimes. They would protect lives instead of taking them. Ino was still thinking of what she saw. Naruto beat both the missing nins, took out a small army and killed Gato. What was Naruto hiding? How strong was Naruto really? Why did he invite the ninjas that almost killed Asuma-sensei? Many questions were going through her head. They arrived in Konoha a few days. Ino had to start training once again. The Chunin exams were going to take place in a week and they were not going to lose. They were going to become Chunins, and Shikamaru was not going to be a lazy fucker. Shikamaru had to go through hell and back with his mother, who decided to foresee his training, running around Konoha 5 times, 10 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 lunges and hitting a practiced dummy 200 times with each hand and feet for a warm-up, was hell on earth. The real workouts were fighting his mom and dad for 4 hours straight, begin thrown kunais at extreme speeds, and having to dodge them was a troublesome task. He had a new name for her mom: sadist. The end. Now we will see you in the next video.